danger of politics is that you are at the mercy of idiots sometimes. Even if you've got a vision, but it's for you to fulfill some of the things that you want to fulfill, you need some of the idiots to assist you to fulfill that particular vision that you have. So he's at the mercy of some of the most stupidest people you can ever imagine. So for ANC to recover from what it is in now, it will need miracle. You will see the approach of the people towards the Premier of Gauteng. That man he's got mistakes. He's a human being. He's fallible. But you can see he's got a vision. There's something that he wants to do, right? But then the Secretary General then start targeting him because the Secretary General has got the ambitions to become the next ANC president. Tell you what, if Fikile Mbalula becomes the president of the ANC, ANC will not even get 10%. No sane voter. I understand we've got a low level of literacy in South Africa in terms of voting. Most of our people don't vote because they understand what they're voting for. They vote because of the emotional attachment that I vote for the ANC because it removed us from apartheid and all of that. So the voting is not, we don't vote intelligently, right? So even if you were to look at most of the parties, I can start ANC, majority of our people will vote because of the liberational history. EFF people vote because they like Malema, he's a radical, he can insult whites and all of that. Then they vote for him, right? Now you go to the likes of the PA. People vote for it because they are coloreds, because the leader is colored, it talks about colors, then they vote. You don't look at the manifesto of that organization and say, do they have things that represent who I am? Do they have leaders that can be able to lead this particular organization for better? Do these individuals that lead this particular organization have people that are tried and tested and they can deliver? Right? So you have that dilemma here in this country. And it will take us years to move from that. South Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and most of the Southern African countries are still in that, except for Zambia and Botswana recently, who have actually moved away from liberational movement politics. The voters in those countries are intelligent, because when they vote for someone who says, I will do this and that. And it's shown with the recent election in Botswana. So we have not reached that stage. We are still stuck in liberational politics. We are still stuck in people who, if you were to join DA, for an example, they will call you counter-revolutionary. We have not moved. We are still far as South Africans to be detached from the politics of color and all of that. And even the politics of tribalism. We're still there. So for us to move forward and to see proper development in the country, we need to move from the politics of race and the politics of nepotism and politics of tribalism. People who lead must lead on merit. People who get into position of power should be there because we have seen that this particular person can do things. Right? Now where we have people who are leading because they had so many people that can insult better. And people were afraid to be insulted, then they have to vote for me because people who back me can insult better than the others. So that is the kind of politics that we have in this country. So looking at the ANC now, it does have capable leaders. It does. So you get surprised. Why should you still have a matriculant being a key leader in the ANC when for 30 years we have developed as country, we've got people that have master's degree, PhDs, diplomas and degrees who are supposed to be leading because they understand things, they can read, they can comprehend things and all of that. But you still have in the ANC, in majority, right, leaders that can't even read. If you go to councils in the municipalities, I serve in the municipalities, you will be shocked. ANC takes people that are illiterate and they put them there, they tell them, now we're going to vote for this motion, and then they vote. They don't even understand what they're voting for. We need to move from that to a more educated, more developed approach in terms of how we do our politics.
Let me remind you of the visionary Jacob Zuma, who at the time when he was leading, this thing of NGCs and policy conferences was still there. And Jacob Zuma, I remember there was an advancement of a policy. They wanted to suggest that a certain position must come with academic qualification. I remember they wanted a municipal manager to be matric +3, and they wanted other things to be this with that. And I see Julius Malema today, he spoke about how he's saying he's going to enforce certain things from his people to say you must have matric before you, because if you go and acquire that qualification, you will thank the EFF for having taught you to do that. Yes. So I want you to understand something. We are talking about people who actually do see that there's benefit on this matter. Let me give you an example. There's benefit on allowing our organization, whether it's EFF, MK, to have people who are educated. But the rank and file members might not receive this in good state. And I remember Jacob Zuma backtracking. And he's one of those. He did not say, because I'm not educated, I'm not going to advance for policies like that. I remember he was trying to push such a thing, but it did not hold water. I don't know how, I was not deeply involved there, but do you actually blame people who do not want to fall on their sword for advancing certain policies?
Look, I always say that in developed societies, corruption is for the elite. In developed societies, right? They do corruption in developed societies. In Americas, in all of these European countries, corruption is there, but it's done by the elite, right? So the biggest failure of the developing country is that corruption is done by Dick, Tom, and Harry. So everybody is putting their hands in the cookie jar, right? Now, I want to come back to something here. Now, if you look at the era of President Mbeki as a president, most of the guys that were running state parastatal were well-educated black people. If you look at the Molife gentleman, Brian, well-educated, knew what he was doing. Now, that era moved a bit. We moved to something completely different, a disaster, where if you go and read reports from the Auditor General of municipalities that are performing battle, you'll find that a director in the municipality does not even have a matric certificate. It's a complete disaster. So I'm saying, we have these things in our politics, and there's people who wish that certain things must happen in a certain way. But it should be the policy of government. It can be a policy of the political organization, but until you make it a policy of government to say people that must serve as councillors in the municipality must have a minimum of matric certificate, it becomes a policy. It becomes part of the Municipal System Act that certain things are needed for one to become a municipal manager. It becomes constituted and becomes law. Then you are serious about it. But if you just talk about it in a political organization where, for example, you said Julius spoke about it, the starting point of Julius Malema is for him to then teach his members to behave and stop insulting people. Have a meaningful debate with people. You can disagree with a person, but let's start being at a place where when we debate, despite our disagreement, but we debate with maturity and we don't throw insults. I think that is